Imagine a simple 18th century building. Inside, there is an ascetic room with a candle burning, book pages being turned, and, probably, a soft voice murmuring in Hebrew. The voice belongs to a man who spent almost his entire life inside these four walls, yet probably considered this a great blessing. In the street, next to his house, people would often talk about him.
schläft nicht mehr wie 4 Stunden am Tag.
Stellt herein die Füße im Wasser. Soll länger lernen.
Selten redet mit dem Sprache.
Although, according to him, one should neither praise nor curse another, for the sin of the tongue is the most severe. It comes as no surprise that today no one exactly knows how the man looked like. We could presume that he simply couldn't be bothered to spend hours waiting for his portrait to be painted. Yet, his intellectual and spiritual legacy remain alive up to this day.
Žydų tauta visų pirma garsėja sukurtais tekstais, knygomis, išminčių vardais. Svarbu yra suprasti, kad tekstas yra ir pasaulio sukūrimo planas tradicinėje kultūroje, ir kartu jo vykdymo planas. Žodis gaonas reiškia išminčius arba didybę, bet didybę ne kažkokią socialinę prasme, o grynai intelektualinę prasme. Pirmųjų gaonų darbo rezultatas yra vienas didžiausių žydų religinės teisės ir paprotinės teisės sąvadas, kuris vadinamas Talmudu. Pavyzdžiui, šitas leidimas pats yra 1883 metų ir jau jis publikuojamas kartu su gaonų komentarais. Tai yra jau manoma tais laikais, kad be gaonų komentarų iš viso šitos vietos neįmanoma suprasti.
However, the Gaon himself never cared to publish his texts. He also neither held an official rabbinical position, nor could he be regarded as a community leader. In fact, the only official documents proving his existence are from 18th century population censuses, which indicate nothing more than his name and a surname. And yet, despite this lack of factual information, his influence is tangible for any religious Jew in the world. In this rare footage, we can see one of the many religious academies, known as yeshivas, established by Lithuanian Jews or Litvaks. Now found all across the world, these schools were first started by a small circle of Gaon's former disciples. They have not only published his texts, but also developed a unique study method based on his teachings. It involves an in-depth analysis of classic Judaic texts and a continuous 24-hour study of the Torah. Eventually, the Vilna Gaon became a multifaceted symbol. Some regard him as a genius for his analytic mind. For others, he is a religious authority who embodies the idea that studying the Torah is the holiest act of all. There are also people who see him as a mystic and an expert on the Kabbalah. We can only imagine how much these images correspond to reality and what other qualities he possessed, especially with his reclusive way of life. Yet one thing is sure. The Gaon's example and legacy transformed the Lithuanian capital of Vilnius into an intellectual and spiritual center of Jewish culture. The local Jewish community prioritized wisdom and piety over material gain and social success. Thus, just before the Holocaust, Vilnius had 10 yeshivas, more than 100 synagogues, and was widely known as the Lithuanian Jerusalem, or the Jerusalem of the North.
Bet kuriuo atveju tai yra ganėtinai unikali knyga, nes matosi, kad jinai pilna schemų, jinai vadinasi išvertus pažodžiui, tai čia ne trikampis, o triragis elnias.
The Vilna Gaon can also be called an innovator, as he expanded his interest into other fields of study, such as Hebrew grammar, natural sciences, and geometry. However, it seems that these additional interests were not for the sake of science, but yet another tool to better understand the Torah. One Talmudic Haggadah, or a story, tells of a huge frog, which is the size of 60 buildings. A snake swallows the frog, and a raven catches the snake and flies away to sit on a tree, the tree of life. A commentary on this story written by the Vilna Gaon himself may be the closest we can get to his image today. For him, the frog symbolizes a Torah scholar who is active day and night. The 60 buildings are the 60 volumes of the Talmud. The snake signifies the temptations that might prevent one from studying texts. And the raven is someone who overcomes these temptations by devoting his entire life to one single purpose: